Hi there, Brady Barrows with the RRDi. Going to talk to you about the Erythromelalgia Association, which is a 501c nonprofit organization. It's a grassroots patient advocacy group organization that is really a gem when it comes to nonprofits. I've been looking at nonprofits for a long time now and reading their Form 990s. Now, Form 990 is the form that the United States Internal Revenue Service requires 501(c)(3)s to file. And you can it's a requirement that if anyone asks for a Form 990, they must give it to you if they are claiming to be a 501(c)(3). So someone kindly pointed out to me that their website, the Erythromelalgia Association website, is a very user-friendly, and said we need to imitate that. So I went over and looked at it and was very impressed. And they offer a free guide on its website for those who suffer from this erythromelagia. And if you don't know what it is, we have a post on erythromelagia because it's a rosacea mimic. It looks like rosacea, but it's not rosacea. It's something else. It's a very serious disease. You don't want it. It needs to be ruled out. You might have it, but it's a lot worse than rosacea. And you can find out about that. That's another whole subject. What I'm talking about is they have over 2,000 members who are grassroots. And I have a whole video about grassroots if you want to watch that. What does that mean, grassroots? It's people who have the disease and they're from the bottom up. They're trying to make an organization that works from the bottom up, and that's what this nonprofit is. All the board members, at least 5 of them, have the disease, and so they've gathered together 2,000 people, and I have looked at 2 of their Form 990s, 2018 and 2019. So I like to discuss how did this nonprofit spend their money. Okay, first off, they received about over $50,000 in donations. That means that they're required to fill out Form 990. And so they did, and it discloses, it tells us that 100% of the donations were public. That means they're not private donations. Compare that with the other rosacea nonprofit organizations. If you look at them, their donations are private donations mostly, particularly the National Rosacea Society. Okay, now what did they do? What did they spend this money on? Okay, they spent $103,000 in 2018. Now, how can you spend more money than what you take in? It's because in the previous years they got a lot of donations and they developed assets, so they have money in the bank, and so they had more money, and so they spent $103,000. Now, what did they mostly spend the donations on? $75,000 was spent on grants. It's called, quote, Gift for Research Directly Related to Erythromelagia. Now, isn't that what you think a nonprofit should do? And that's what they did. They spent their money on research. Now, what else did they spend their money on? About 13,000, a little over 13,000 for professional fees and other payments to independent contractors. They spent over $14,000 on printing, publications, postage, shipping. They spent $884 on other expenses. Total expenses, $103,512. And you can look that they actually filled out Form 990EZ, and you can get a copy and read it for yourself. So this is how a nonprofit that really spends the money like a nonprofit should. Did the board members get any money? No, nothing. They were all volunteers. Did any of the members receive any of the money? Not as far as I can tell. And they spent mostly the money on erythromelagia research. Now that was in 2018. So I followed up and got the 2019 Form 990, and they only received in 2019 $21,578. That's all they received. They're really not required to fill out Form 990 EZ. They could have filled out Form 990N if you make less than 50,000. But they filled out EZ, and it tells a lot more. And so what they showed is they spent $18,000 on printing, publications, postage, shipping, and other expenses. They didn't spend any money on research in 2019. No money was spent on staff, conventions, or members. Board members didn't receive any money. They still had about 2,000 members, and it shows on their net assets. It has to show, well, then where's all their money? It says they have $125,000 in the bank as assets, and that's what they showed they have at the end of the year. But they get high marks for being a really good nonprofit for erythromelagia patient advocacy, and they're grassroots. That's what the RRDi is about, and we need to be like the TEA organization, and that's what we try to do. We try to do the same thing, but we need members that are willing to donate. That's the difference. Our members are not donating. The erythromelagia members donate. That's the big difference. How do you change members' minds on donating? I need help. So thanks for listening.